It is Y105, number one for all the hits. I'm Steve Pulaski. There is a uniquely special event coming at Dubuque's Five Flags Center on Thursday, February 1st. It's Animaniacs in concert featuring the original lead voice cast. Tickets for the one-night-only show now available at the Five Flags Center box office, fiveflagcenter.com. And on the phone lines, we have two members of cartoon royalty over here, including veteran voice actor Rob Paulsen, who voiced characters on the original show, and the show's composer, Randy Rogel. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Well, we're breathing. We're not in jail. Day's not over yet. So far, so good, Dan.
And I love your intro. Thank you, Steve. You're so kind.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, my mother was from Waterloo, so I have been to your neck of the woods.
We've got a close and personal connection. We're basically family over here. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I'm so excited to talk to you guys. You both have incredibly interesting careers. The Animaniacs is, I think, an indispensable part of the 90s, as well as Amblin Entertainment, too, as a whole. How does Animaniacs in concert keep the magic going? I guess, Rob, I'll start with you.
Well, the show is the star of the show is Randy's music. And as most of you know, a lot of you know, United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. Well, Randy wrote that, and about another 25 songs which we performed during Animaniacs in concert, most of which have come from Animaniacs, a number of which have come from another show called Hysteria, things that all under the banner at Warner Brothers and the sort of guidance of Tom Ruegger and Steven Spielberg. But the bottom line, Steve, is that everyone who is fortunate enough to hear Randy's music in person, and we're not a tribute band, we're the people who did it. Randy's the guy that wrote it. Martha and the Brain is there, so we do Pinky and the Brain as well. And everyone will go home exhausted from singing and laughing. And I don't know that there's a better way to spend an evening than that. And so we're just so looking forward to turning ourselves loose there in Dubuque.
Anything to add, Randy? Like I said, lifeblood of the Animaniacs universe over here with your great music. How do you follow that up?
Yeah, see, I'd say, I've done a lot of theater, and Rob's done a lot of stand-up, and this is really a wonderful show. It's all about fabulous animation, really wonderful music and songs, but what I think the star is the performances of like Rob and Maurice are the originals. And so you're sitting and watching, and they go from one voice to the next, doing, and you're just going, oh my God. And when Maurice does all the voices, he's doing Futurama, The Simpsons, The Frozen, and Rob's doing Jimmy Neutron, the Ninja Turtles. You're like, oh my God, you guys are those guys. And you're seeing the guys who are the iconic animated characters of your life come alive right there in front of you, and there is a great deal of laughter. Also something we do for the fans, too. And if I might add, you don't even have to know Animaniacs to enjoy the show. And you don't have to be a kid, either. Our average audience is adults. And when, what's really fun about the show, too, is we take you inside. We'll say, hey, you want to hear a song that they killed, that they wouldn't let us do, or you want to hear the original lyrics I wrote before they made me change them. So you really have to get inside and see how a show is made. And by the people who made it, like Rob said, we're not a tribute band, we're the actual guys who think if you went to Bugs on Broadway and you're seeing Mel Blanc and Chuck Jones and Carl Stalling, we're the guys. I wouldn't say we're in their league, but we are certainly the guys who originally did the show. Yeah. So you'll get that aspect to it.
They are Rob Paulsen and Randy Rogel, part of Animaniacs in Concert, which is coming to Dubuque's Five Flags Center on Thursday, February 1st. I guess I'll ask both of you, too, what has been your favorite part about bringing this show to the stage, whether it's the experience, the audience engagement, the laughter you bring? What has been the most rewarding part about getting Animaniacs on stage in front of a live audience?
All of the above. You answered your question. All of us, Randy, Maurice, all of us, Tress MacNeille, the people, Jess Harnell, obviously Bernadette Peters, Nancy Cartwright, all the people who starred in Animaniacs, the voice talent, and a lot of the musicians have live performance backgrounds. So to be in a place in our careers now where we are obviously closer to the end than the beginning, but we're old enough to have this wonderful legacy of work that has made a huge difference in the lives of millions of people, and we really never knew the extent to which that was the case. But to go back to what it was that got us to Hollywood in the first place, there really is nothing like a live audience. It's just wonderful, and it is everything you suggested. It's fun, it's nostalgic, It's poignant. There will be people who will cry because it will remind them of a very special time in their lives or in the lives of someone who's no longer around, or they get to see it through their children's eyes. And it is a remarkably privileged position in which we find ourselves. And we know it. And we relish every single second of this opportunity. It is utterly authentic. And this started as a labor of love. We ultimately received the blessing from Warner Brothers Licensing and Mr. Spielberg. And to have that pedigree in your background does nothing but tee it up for you.
That segs very nicely into my next question here. Considering the show's original run, and then obviously I know the revival for Hulu in 2020, but focusing on the original run, how closely did you guys work with Steven Spielberg during the original show? What was that sort of working relationship like?
The guy's amazing. I mean, at that first year we were doing, he was reading the scripts while in the same year he was doing Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, right, Rob?
Yeah.
And yet we would be getting these notes, then we had a rap part at the end of it, and he really pays attention to what's going on. And it's just remarkable to me that one man can handle so much. Plus, he's such a nice person and so involved. I mean, I know, Rob, you guys went over to Amblin a couple of times just to hang with him, right? And that must have been...
Oh, my God. Yeah, just honestly, and it's such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for asking about that, because there is, to be sure, understandably, kind of a mystique around people who are literal legends in our time. And Mr. Spielberg, in every interaction and encounter I've had with him, and I've worked with him now on half a dozen projects, not just Animaniacs, other ones, live action, some, but he is always absolutely respectful. He has this wonderful sort of magnanimity about treating people the way he perceives, as important as we perceive him to be. And it is, again, a hackneyed word, but it's authentic. He is just a delightful...
It is.
He's the biggest nerd of all of us with $4 billion and a shitload of talent. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that.
You know what he does? I mean, you're right, Rob, because I've seen he'll come in when Tom would have all the writers, and then he would once in a while stop by. He would like a kid. Oh, what if we did this? Well, yeah, he just gets in with the writers' room.
Yeah,
and it's throwing out so many incredible ideas. I mean, he's just a remarkable individual.
He really is. And
do all of that. He can run a studio. He can be a director. Then he can get right with the writers and come up with.
Oh my God! No, and his talent. We all know his talent. He's won a pile of Oscars. He'll probably win a pile more. But I'll tell you what. If you guys really want to get a little taste of what Mr. Spielberg is all about, there's this wonderful eponymous documentary called Spielberg that was done by HBO, and I think it was probably 3 years ago. But it goes through everything, including animation, including Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs, all that stuff. And he makes Maurice, myself, Tress, feel every bit as important as Liam Neeson, Tom Cruise, and Kate Winslet. It's really, he's a remarkable human and is utterly delightful.
It was an honor and a privilege, Steve, for us to be here with him.
I love it. So many wonderful anecdotes to chew on with you guys right there. Rob Paulsen and Randy Rogel of Animaniacs and Animaniacs in Concert. Couple more questions with you, gentlemen. One for each of you. I'll bat you up, too. I'll start with you, Rob. Your filmography is extensive. Looking at your Wikipedia page, too, I'm just going to let you know, it reminded me, I could visualize a cartoon in my head of a cartoon character unraveling a scroll, and then the scroll goes out the door, down the street, round the corner, up a skyscraper. That is your lengthy list of credits there. Some of note: Carl Weezer and Jimmy Neutron, Spike and The Land Before Time. I'm going to throw you a curveball over here. One of my favorite cartoons as a kid that nobody remembers. You were the voice of Gordon on Catscratch. I shout you out for that.
Oh my goodness, you like Catscratch? Steve, you have excellent taste in stupid cats. I completely agree with you. What an interesting group of people. First of all, it was Doug TenNapel who created that, also created Earthworm Jim. And Doug is a dear friend, and he cast yours truly, Maurice LaMarche, Wayne Knight, whom you guys know as Kramer on Seinfeld, and our lovely pal Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall. And boy, for 13 episodes, we had a blast. I agree with you. I think it should have absolutely it was worthy of more juice, more love, but that opportunity was great. And we really got a chance to play. And every so often, I hear from folks from Scotland that It's not too bad. It's not. People don't mistake me for what's his name, David Tennant or anything like that. But they think for a fella from Flint, Michigan, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I had to throw in the Catscratch reference, too, because I'll tell you right now, as the owner of two cats, too, there's not a lot of positive media representation of cats. There's a ton for dogs, but there's not a lot of, amiable representation for cats. So I salute you in that. That was one of the things that I remember fondly seeing your name come up in the opening credits when I was...
Thank you, man. That's very kind of you. So I so appreciate that.
Absolutely. But I was parlaying it into a question, too, that what has been your secret to carving out such a prolific career over the last several decades, Rob?
Surrounding myself with people who are far more talented than I, and that is not false modesty. I'm really good at my job, but so are you, Steve. Randy, of course, is at another level. He won't say it, but it's true. You don't write stuff like that, have it last 35 years, and then go on to write stuff right now that's going to light people up in the next couple of years. I have been impossibly fortunate to work with people, again, who are better at their jobs than I, and it all comes together to make me look and sound like I'm really, really good. But, when you get a chance to work on a show like Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain with the people whom we have been discussing, and we could go all day with the folks who have won Emmys and Oscars and Tonys and all that, Grammys, on either side of the equation, you got to work to screw it up. So I was very aware that this show was sort of my pitch. This was the high heat right over the plate. And if I was able to deliver the same way that the people who hired me delivered, then I was going to have a good run. And I was right. This show changed my life. But I was one of many boats who was raised up by an incredibly high tide,
Excellent answer right there. Again, he's Rob Paulsen. I'm going to bop over to you, Randy. Good question for you coming. When it comes to songwriting, performing, where does your inspiration come from, or where do you tend to look for inspiration? When Randy Rogel is trying to write a new song or compose a new musical piece, how does that process look on your end?
Well, Rob asked me that on stage, and I say, well, we steal. Yeah. I don't really think anybody knows the answer to that question of where all of this comes from. But I'm just so glad that I have a knack for it. But we get an idea for a song, and then we begin thinking about how does that song play into the show, and that leads me down the track of it. I have a musical theater background, which you can probably tell by the style of music. In fact, I have a show that's starts rehearsal in London day after tomorrow, and so that's sort of where I come from is the story and the character driven kind of song. But of course, you want a catchy melody. But that's as best I can tell you. I honestly don't know where those ideas come from. I just reach down in there and look and pray that the muse will come.
You gentlemen are absolutely outstanding from top to bottom. There's so many more questions I can ask you, but we'd probably be starting a 3-hour podcast on that note as opposed to a quick little interview over here. I greatly appreciate your time, and I want to give both of you the floor to talk about Animaniacs in concert, talk about the tour you're on, promote your own social medias. Rob, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Randy. Any final words you'd like to offer, Rob?
Yes, if you've got one lick of sense in your head, you'll come out to Animaniacs in concert. And then you get free tickets to the Water Tower next time you're in Burbank, unless you're arrested getting on the lot, in which case you're on your own. But not to worry. There are a billion lawyers in L.A. Most of them are divorce attorneys, but they moonlight getting knuckleheads like you out of jail. No, it's fantastic. Please come. As I said, you'll go home exhausted from laughing and singing. My social media, I'm on TikTok at Rob Paulsen 311, ROBPAULSEN 311, Rob_Paulsen on Instagram, at Yakko Pinky on X, and Rob Paulsen voice actor on Facebook. So come see me, and you folks will just love seeing Brian and me take over the world. Start with Dubuque. No.
Randy, how about you? Where can we find you?
I'm right here, and I couldn't agree with Rob more. I'll just say this show is so much fun. You are really going to love the show, and the show isn't just. Did I say this before? It's not just for kids. It's for adults, and you don't even have to know Animaniacs to enjoy the show. But It's just fabulous animation, really wonderful songs, lots of laughter, and terrific performances. And it's a really great evening, and I've done a lot of theater. It's a really great evening at the theater. You're just going to have a blast.
You're both incredible people, too. Animaniacs in concert. Tickets available now at the Five Flag Center box office on Locust Street right here in Dubuque. FiveFlagCenter.com. Rob Paulsen, Randy Rogel, I wish you guys nothing but good health and positive spirits. Break a leg on stage. We cannot wait to see you take Dubuque.
Thank you, Steve. We'll see you at the show.